ever since it arrived for 1983 as the first ever transverse engine, front-wheel drive Toyota. The Camry has been a sane, sensible family sedan. Over 6 succeeding generations, the Camry executed an mission so well that it became America's best-selling passenger car but also among its most boring. Now, however, company boss Akio Toyota wants to banish boring, which means big changes for the brand's big seller. The effort got off to a tentative start with a more extensive than usual mid-cycle update for 2015 but reaches full flower with the all-new 8th generation car. This Camry really wants to party. Funk factor to start, there's the styling. In its family sedan segment, it's the equivalent of a purple mohawk. The new car is longer, lower, and fractionally wider, giving it a slightly lower slunk profile. Up front there's an angry-looking visage marked by a pinched upper grille and a gaping lower maw. The bottom edge of the fascia flares outward, as do the rocker panels. The shoulder line kicks up behind the rear doors, and a crease slashes across the C-pillar and extends back to the decklid spoiler. Southeast and XSE models have their own, even busier front and rear styling, plus additional sculpting on the rockers and the rear bumper that emulates the diffuser. XSE versions offer a black roof. One can argue whether the new Camry's styling looks better, but there is no question that there's more of it. The interior is funkier, too, the previous slab-like dash for a more three-dimensional design bisected by a wave-like trim piece. The triangular center stack angles toward the driver, while on the passenger's side the dash curves away to create a greater sense of spaciousness. The gloss black region into which the central touch screen is integrated provides today's requisite smartphone-mimicking appearance, but it retains enough knobs and physical buttons to make for easy operation. Top-spec models enjoy padded surfaces, soft-touch plastics, and attractive graining, some of which is preserved for mid-level trims, although these get hard plastic door panels and a cheaper-feeling steering wheel. Toyota's latest Entune 3.0 infotainment system debuts here, and its biggest upgrade may be the company's standard app-based navigation system, which works through a connected Apple or Android phone with the Scout app installed to deliver real moving maps and turn-by-turn directions just like an in-car NAV system. Entune's biggest downside is that it still doesn't support Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. That nearly 2-inch longer wheelbase helps preserve interior roominess, including generous rear seat legroom and knee clearance, even as engineers lowered the roof and the seating position. They also lowered the hood and the belt line to avoid the feeling of sitting in the bottom of a barrel. This Camry is more adventurous with color, too, with the gray and tan interiors using multiple hues, while a red and black scheme can be had in the XSE. Feel the TNGA. It's not just appearances that have changed, much of the hardware is new, as the Camry moves to Toyota's TNGA architecture. Both engines are fresh, as well, although their layout and displacements are familiar. The direct and port-injected 2.5-liter inline-4 has a longer stroke and higher compression ratio than the previous four-cylinder, and it boasts variable valve timing that is now electrically actuated on the intake side. Output climbs from 178 horsepower and 170 pounds-feet of torque to 203 and 184 or 206 and 186 in the XSE with its quad exhaust outlets, the Camry first. The 176 HP version of the same engine pairs with an electric motor flash generator in the hybrid. A V6 also returns, even as competitors including the arch-rival Honda Accord are dropping them in favor of turbocharged force, again displacing 3.5 liters. The Camry V6 makes a robust 301 horsepower versus 268 before, along with 267 pounds-feet of torque, up from 248. Both engines trade their previous 6-speed automatic for a new 8-speed unit, but the hybrid continues with the same mechanical arrangement that creates a pseudo-CVT. As before, the Camry lineup divides thematically between S Sport and L Luxury model. On the former side, there's the Southeast available as a 4-cylinder or a hybrid and the fancier XSE 4-cylinder or V6. A new just plain Bell 4-cylinder only is the price leader, with the Lee 4-cylinder or hybrid and XLE 4-cylinder, V6, or hybrid climbing from there. The mechanical changes mean that the transformation from behind the wheel is more evident than you might expect. The mainstay 4-cylinder is now the most powerful naturally aspirated 4 in the segment, and its additional output is evident. We found it to be energetic and well-mannered with its 8-speed automatic partner. Then we tried the V6. Its power output bests all competitors' turbocharged force, as well as the segment's remaining 6s. Only the Ford Fusion Sports V6 beats it, but that's with the aid of 2 turbos. And yet, the 3.5 liters output doesn't overwhelm the chassis even as acceleration unloads the front wheels. We dig the V6's surplus of go, which together with its smoothness and sophistication puts this engine on a higher plane. Get the V6 while you still can. That is, so long as you're not put off by its admittedly hefty upcharge of roughly $6,000. Although that does include some additional equipment, such as a head-up display, a panoramic sunroof, premium JBL audio, wireless device charging, Wi-Fi, and an 8.0-inch touchscreen rather than the standard 7.0-inch with either engine. The Camry driving experience has been elevated. Toyota engineers claimed to have lowered the car's center of gravity by an inch, while the TNGA platform brought a change from a strut-type rear suspension to a multi-link setup. The chassis is remarkably stoic and gamely resists body roll. In gentler driving, there's a newfound poise that replaces the somnambulant motions of the previous car. The steering has real weight that builds nicely as you turn the wheel. Even in its sportiest iteration, the new Camry may not go you into screaming around corners or whipping through a series of switchbacks, but should you take the initiative yourself, the Camry steals its gaze and plays along. Traditional virtues for all the emphasis on getting in touch with its wild side. No Camry redesign could completely neglect the model traditional virtues. Thus, the 2018 version sees a major improvement in fuel economy. The 4-cylinder enjoys a 5 mpg jump in its EPA combined rating and 7 miles per gallon in the base L edition. EPA ratings are 28 miles per gallon city and 39 highway, with the L tacking on 1 mile per gallon city and 2 on the highway. The V6 manages a 2 mpg increase in its combined figure, with EPA ratings of 22 miles per gallon city and 32 highway for the XSE and 22/33 for the XLE. The real fuel economy story, though, is the hybrid, which vaults over the 50 mpg bar with EPA ratings of 51 miles per gallon city, 53 highway. That, however, is Ford-Lee model only. The Southeast and XLE hybrids earn EPA scores of 44/47 miles per gallon. Those 2 versions retain the nickel metal hydride battery pack, while the Lee switches to a lighter, more powerful lithium-ion unit. And with its lower level of equipment, the Lee is lighter overall. We took a spin in the Lee hybrid, and its behavioral transformation is less remarkable than the non-hybrid model we drove. its continuously variable automatic transmission still suffers constant RPM droning under acceleration. Moreover, this version's steering and suspension haven't firmed up as much as its siblings. This new hybrid does, however, achieve normal brake pedal feel as it mixes friction and regenerative braking, a characteristic that has long eluded Toyota. And all hybrid variants, no matter their battery type, relocate the battery pack from the trunk to under the rear seat, increasing luggage space and opening up the rear seat pass-through. There also are improvements on the safety front, as Toyota makes standard forward collision warning with pedestrian detection and automated braking, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning with steering assist, and automatic high beams. Blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert with automatic braking also are available, while a backup camera is standard. That additional standard equipment goes some way toward explaining the higher sticker prices, which rise across the lineup. The new base L, for instance, is $425 more than last year's Lee. At the upper end, the V6 XSE has climbed $3,580 to $35,835. With shoppers increasingly passing over mid-size sedans in favor of SUVs in recent months, both the Nissan Rogue and the Honda CR-V have beaten the Camry. The 8th generation Camry couldn't bring just more of the same. Being a staid, family four-door is no longer a great strategy. The time is right for the Camry to cut loose,